The Battle of the Plains of Abraham, the fight for Canada. A long time ago, before Canada was even a country, two powerful European nations, France and Britain, were fighting for control of North America. This conflict was part of the 7 Years' War, a global battle between these two empires. One of its most famous battles took place in Quebec City in 1759. It was called the Battle of the Plains of Abraham, and it changed the future of Canada forever. The fight for New France. In the 1700s, most of what is now Canada was called New France, and it was controlled by the French. Quebec City was its most important stronghold, sitting high on a cliff overlooking the St. Lawrence River. Its natural defenses made it extremely difficult to attack. But the British, led by General James Wolfe, wanted to take control of Quebec City. The French, under the command of General Louis-Joseph de Montcalm, were determined to stop them. A sneaky plan. General James Wolfe was not a man who liked to wait. He was impatient and spent the summer of 1759 growing frustrated. Despite several attempts, he had failed to take Quebec City. Throughout the summer, the British bombarded the city with cannonballs and mortar bombs, flattening buildings and churches. They also raided farms along the river, burning homes and plundering supplies. But despite their efforts, they couldn't gain the upper hand. The French defenses remained strong, and Quebec City held firm. Wolfe knew he needed a new plan, a bold strategy to surprise the French. On the night of September 12, 1759, the British Army launched a daring attack. Under the cover of darkness, Wolfe's soldiers quietly climbed a steep, rocky path near the city. By sunrise, 4,400 British troops stood on a large open field just outside the city walls, known as the Plains of Abraham. The French were shocked. They had never expected the British to breach their defenses so quickly. The battle begins. General Montcalm hurried to gather his troops. In traditional European warfare, both armies would line up in formation and march towards each other in an orderly battle. But the French army was exhausted after years of fighting. Many of their professional soldiers had been killed or injured, leaving untrained men and boys to take their place. Despite their lack of experience, they fought bravely. As the French forces advanced, Wolfe gave the order. The British opened fire. Musket shots rang out, and within minutes, the French soldiers began to fall or flee. The battle was over in just 15 minutes, but in that short time, both Wolfe and Montcalm were badly wounded. Wolfe died on the battlefield, but before he passed, his soldiers told him that the French were retreating. The British had won. His body was later shipped back to England, preserved in a barrel of alcohol. Meanwhile, Montcalm was carried back into the city, where he died the next morning. He was buried in a mortar bomb crater inside Quebec City. With their leader gone, the French forces could no longer hold the city. A few days later, they surrendered. The British had taken control of Quebec City, and soon after, the rest of New France followed. A battle that shaped Canada. The Battle of the Plains of Abraham was one of the most important battles in Canadian history. While it didn't end the 7 Years' War, it was a key turning point. Even though France lost the battle, many French settlers remained in Quebec. This moment marked the beginning of British rule in Canada, but it also led to the unique blend of French and British culture that still defines Canada today. Although the battle was short, it shaped the future of the country, a reminder of how even the smallest moments in history can have the biggest impact.